but we have to be fair to Espada, but fair to everybody else who has questions about Espada. And one thing I will tell you is that I'm going to make sure that whatever we do, it's going to be done in a very fair and equitable way.
Are you, and I don't know if you've had time to review the law, but are we aware yet if he decides not to participate in this tribunal, what remedies there are available to you legally?
I have not reviewed the law yet. I intend to, and I intend to make sure that I know thoroughly what the law says, what we can do. I don't know that I know the answer to your question, but I would say offhand that it would seem to me to be pretty hard to compel him to participate in such a proceeding. But, you know, would he or wouldn't he? I could not answer that.
Have you had any, since this letter's come out, have you had any communication with the state Democratic chairman, the executive director of the party, Charlie King, who's very closely allied with Andrew Cuomo? Andrew Cuomo is investigating and has now brought 2 civil lawsuits against Pedro Espada. I mean, all of this is sort of tied in together. Have you had any discussions with these people about the possibility that it looks, as much as one might say that Pedro Espada is problematic and scandalous and controversial and could deserve it and whatever, that this doesn't look so great from when all these people have a personal interest at stake?
I have had a discussion with Charlie King, the executive director. I spoke with him today. I'm not going to go into all the details of the discussion, but I told him that this is a decision that has to be made in the Bronx, and I think that we should do what's best for the Bronx and what's best for the people of the Bronx and the Democratic Party. Maybe that entails holding such a hearing. Maybe it entails not holding such a hearing. As I've said repeatedly over the past few days, my personal belief is that the best way to make changes in who holds elective office is at the ballot box, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should not do this. If this is the right thing to do, and if that's the conclusion that I come to, then we would go ahead and do this. But it's questionable at this point whether we should do it or we shouldn't do it. I'm certainly not going to make a decision today on this.
Okay, when might you make a decision? Do you have any feeling about that?
Well, I can tell you that right now my political focus is on our designating petitions. I finished collecting our petitions, but we have to put our petitions together. We have to file petitions. Next week is the time that petitions are filed. So that kind of takes precedence, in my opinion, because if we don't file our petitions, then we're not running for office. So we'll see. I don't want to be pinned down to a particular timetable, except to say, not happening today.
Aren't they due the 14th or something along right around that area?
The petitions can be filed next week, anytime between the 12th and the 15th, between Monday and Thursday of next week. Thursday of next week is the last day to file the designating petitions. So
you think after the petitioning process is over, you might make a decision?
Maybe yes, and maybe before. I mean, I said I don't want to be pinned down to it. I really need to think this through. I want to do the right thing. I think we all want to do the right thing and the smart thing. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz. I really want to thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much.